This is a conceptual message. I'm not going to be going to verses, but I want you to, of course, be thinking of verses as you hear it. And if I were to flesh it out to put in a document or something, of course, I would give it its verses. The title of this message, very simply, is True Faith versus False Faith. Making a comparison between what constitutes true faith versus what constitutes false faith. Now, in the scriptures, the usage of the term true and false, when applied to prophets, for example, there are true prophets and false prophets. There is truth and there is error. There is a number of ways that comparatives are made to tell you, pay attention to the true and don't follow the false. In scientific modern day, we measure truth and falsehood by slightly different ways of looking at things than the scriptures do. Truth is sometimes relative to us. False is sometimes opinion to us. Truth is sometimes viewed as only if it comes with certain kinds of proofs. False is something that we don't feel we can establish proofs on. Sometimes what we believe in modern times is considered true without evidence. Evolutionary transitional creatures. And sometimes things are considered false, like some people's belief in Christianity, because people just say we made up God as an idea and it's all made up anyway. So there's a real battle going on in the minds of men, women, children, over the question of what is true, what is false, and I've modified that to say true faith versus false faith. True faith is not just a faith that we believe to be true. And false faith is not just I caught you in a wrong, caught you in an error, caught you in a lie, therefore it's false, necessarily. Because the natural man can make observations that seem true, but are actually false. The spiritual man makes observations that are true, and the natural man says, I don't buy that, that's false. There is a conflict between what is a true thing and what is a false thing. And this message very simply is addressing the subject of faith. Blind faith, is that a true faith or a false faith? Faith that is not founded in any kind of reason, I just believe it. Is that a true faith or a false faith? If I were to sit down and, as it were, make up a religion and tell you that it's true, this is the religion of Bob, this is the religion of John, this is the religion of, Mikhail, would it be true simply because I made up that religion and that's what I believe? I believe a little bit of ufology with a little bit of this, with a little bit of cosmic consciousness, with a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And therefore, because I've seen the holistic pattern of it all, that must make it true, right? Because I saw how all that connected. Is it false simply because it is all that interconnected stuff and nothing in it must be true, therefore, because there's some piece of it that's false? Does the thing have to be totally false to be false? In logic, we weigh propositions based on true or false, and how they're put together in structure determines whether or not it's a true logical argument or a false logical argument. And some people would say, but that's a valid argument. Well, it might be one that we would accept, but that doesn't necessarily make it a deductive argument, an inductive argument. So true and false carry this right and wrong feel to it. But from a biblical point of view, true and false primarily focuses on a combination of source, where did it come from, and accuracy, how clear is it, and repeatable experiences which are validated by source. Seems like a looped argument at first, until you realize source is everything and the difference between a true faith and a false faith. Notice I didn't make this a comparison between true faith and error. This is a faith question. I believe, therefore, true or false? I am persuaded. True or false? Is it just the fact that you're persuaded make it true? Is it the fact that 1,000 people are persuaded it makes it true? I have a large congregation of 10,000 people. We are all 100% persuaded that makes it true. I am the only guy standing here speaking this. That makes it false. Nobody else has the same opinion I do, so it must be false. Flip side, you're the only person standing there who has that opinion. That makes it false. I'm the only guy standing here. The rest of you are all lunatics. That makes it true. You guys are all wrong. And on goes the conflict. True faith versus false faith, 25 items in a list of comparisons. Here I go. Number 1. True faith is founded in the one true God. Source is paramount. And it is not founded in any other God. Now, how can I say that? Why? That just blows the mind of the natural man. To say there's only one God, put that title there for a moment, line them all up in a row, put on their chest the name right here, like an insignia. Hi, my name is God. They all stand up in a row. I don't know how many gods there are in this world or past worlds or ancient worlds, but you line them all up in a row. They all say, deity, divine, here I am God. But there's only one of them that can be God. So finding out who the one true God is the very beginning of the cornerstone of answering the question of true faith. Because if any of the others, because they can't all be, they contradict each other, if any of the others turn out to be contradictory or false, we have to start chipping the list away. The atheist would say, well, there's so many of them, so obviously it's a made-up idea, therefore I don't have to believe any of them. Well, that's going to cause you a problem because your faith is founded in a false idea, the idea that since there are so many, there can't be a real one. And that's not logical. If there is a God, there has to be at least one of them that is. If there is a God at all, you're stuck. And the very fact that the planet is covered with the majority of people believing there is such a being, regardless of name, rank, and insignia, puts you kind of in the bucket of one of those guys must be right. The apostle very wisely said to the men on Mars Hill, hey, good job. Forgot to put a label on that one over there. So I'm going to preach that guy. This is the debate over God. It is not a debate of, is there a God? The very fact that the heartbeat of man for 6,000 years has been focusing on it tells you there's a heartbeat in man that knows there is it. Finding the one true God and locking in on that source is what will determine what is true, that is correct, true faith. Believing in the one true source immediately puts you in contact with the one true source, and all the other sources, so-called, turn out to be not sources. This is why God himself said, there's only one of me, there's none besides me, and the rest of them I will prove to you are not me. And I'll prove it to you by many means. And he said that to his people who were getting curious about the other gods. Excuse me, they start out with the one true and they say, what about the other guys? And God says, all right, you want to know whether or not I am really the only one guy up here? Let's play. And here we go. Gods go up and gods go down, and gods go up and gods go down. And he's still chuckling at the end of the fight. You can just see that massive fight taking place in the heavens. All right, into the ring. Put him up, put him up, put him up. Oh, another idol went down. Put him up, put him up. Oh, wood, stone, and stubble. Put him up, put him up. Oops, fried you. Sorry, didn't mean to burn you completely to the ground. When the one true God is in there and you're hooked into the one true God, faith is real. So I challenge anybody who is curious about God, read up, study up, pray up, call up, but watch out. There's one of them that really, really is real. And if you're going to be really scientific about it, study carefully. The one true God is not confused. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 2, true faith is based on, ironically enough, truth. It is not based on belief. Belief is not the mechanism by which we determine if our faith is right. I believe in UFOs. Oh, whoopee. I've seen a UFO. Oh, whoopee. I've seen... What have you seen? I don't know. I saw something on a peyote quest. What did you see? Well, I don't know. I was in the bends underwater. What did you see? Well, I was on the dark side of the moon. What did you see? Well, I was... It's not based on just the belief mechanism. It is actually based on, prove to me it's true. If I were to say to you that the Earth is a cube, you would say, is not. Because we got guys up there in space station taking pretty pictures and sending them back to Earth going, round. Still some flat Earth people around, but I guarantee you, there are no cube Earth people around. There are no people around who believe in a hexagonal Earth. A multi-dimensional hexagonal Earth. Does not exist scientifically. So we know by way of certain kinds of evidence what to exclude. Same thing is true when you're talking about your faith. You read a little bit of the Bhagavad Gita, you read a little bit of the book of so-and-so and the book of so-and-so, and I've got plenty of books of so-and-so if anybody wants to read books of so-and-so, and then you read this book of so-and-so. In the beginning God created, this book of so-and-so. And all of a sudden you start realizing something. Okay, he says, prove this. All right, I'll put him to the test. He says, prove this. I put him to the test, nothing happened. Baal versus Elijah. Bing, bing, bang, bang, boom, boom, dead. 400 prophets flushed. Why? Because if it's based on truth, truth wins. If it's based on belief, there are some other overriding factors that might actually hinder your final conclusion. Some of them we'll talk in a minute about. Demons. What if they get knocked off the planet? Well, the issue here I'm just trying to address in a real simple statement as quickly as possible is belief, I believe, is not proof of true faith. But truth that you believe is based in true faith. And you will grow off of every truth you find. Therefore, I encourage you very strongly, find as many truths as you can. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There's a reason he said, I am the truth. Once you establish that, you can have true faith. Number 3, true faith is based, ironically enough, in God's power. You say, well, I thought it was just based in sound reasoning, or based in Bible college training, or theological extracting, or commentaries, or... No. Actually, the original faith of all the men of God, and all of the followers of God, was very much confirmed in the power of God. All right, here's the way it works. We're leaving Egypt now. Let my people go. No way. Yes way. No way. Yes way. Flush. Drown. Way. Murmur, 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 murmur. I think he let us out here to die. Murmur, 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 murmur. He's not going to get poison water. Murmur, murmur. Okay, water, here. Smite the rock. Talk to it. You smote it twice. You're out. Sounds very much like an umpire, doesn't it? Sounds very much like God's power is the umpire in this whole thing. All right, call down your fire. I'll call down my fire. Ready, set, go. Whoops. You're not fried. How come? I'll have to kill you. I'm joking. The issue here is the power of God immediately makes a discrimination between belief which is not a faith, or faith in a belief, versus faith in the source who's telling you the truth and backing it up with, power. Well, I don't think we need to pray for all that power stuff. I don't think the power stuff's important. We just got the Word. The Word's enough. Just the knowing of the book is enough. Really? Okay. Old Testament saints, Book of Proverbs, good enough, right? We could use that argument back then. Hey, I've got Song of Solomon, Book of Proverbs, and the history books. I'm done. Don't need no New Testament. Don't need Book of Acts to go telling me God comes down and fills his people. Don't need any of that stuff. I've got good, solid wisdom books already written. Thank you very much. Truth of the matter is, the power of God comes down and says, okay, time for an upgrade. Time for an improvement. Time for a change. And here we go. So the power of God comes in and says, you want to establish your faith? You want to know it's true? Let me demonstrate. Paul said, I'll demonstrate. Demonstrate. Next. Come on in. Demonstrate. Fell out the window. Whoops. Raise him from the dead. Demonstrate. You know, guy at gate beautiful. Demonstrate. Guy in jail. Out through the door. Bye. See ya. Power of God. Sorry. Changes the scoreboard here. You Greeks can't keep me locked up. You Romans can't keep me locked up. You people can't keep me locked up. 2,000 years after one fella dies on a cross and 12 fellas go into hiding, we now got millions of fellas and they're still doing some of the same stuff those guys did. Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other people with millions of people doing lots of things. But they don't have the power of God to back it. Eventually, true faith, false faith, is going to come into a conflict. Somebody is going to be not able to call no fire down. The real power increase demonstrates where the true faith is landing. So, guess what my encouragement is? Ask for more of God's power. Ask Him to increase His manifestations. It's not a matter of people's claims to power. They claim they have power. It's a matter of not whether you really have God's power. I can do certain illusions. I'm a master magician and illusionist. I can do things you've never seen. I can dazzle you. Fine. Please take my withered arm and grow it out for me. I can't do that one. Right. Next. When those gifts get more and more operative and more people getting more and more what they need, you know, I'm sorry, but at a certain juncture you have to say, I gave all my money to the doctors. It did me no good. I then went to this guy down the street that I thought was an idiot. He prayed to God and I got well. What do you want me to say? I was blind. I now see. It's over. Okay? Shut up. Go away. I may not know anything else about the guy, but I know this. Hey, was blind. Now see. Okay? So your claims of power, your claims of position, your claims of authority, I don't know what that is, but see? I see. Number 4. True faith is founded in the voice of one, not in the voice of many. We have this idea that numbers brings validity of truth. How many people believe in, hands up, evolution? How many people believe in, hands up, Gaia? How many people believe in UFOs? How many people believe in super hyper consciousness? How many people believe in, all right, hands up, how many we got? Millions? Thank you. Now what? We even got millions of Christians. Hands up! Well, we've got 2.5 million against your 3.5 million, against their 7.5 million, against our 4.5 million, and oh, great. So what happens when God whittles all that down and all you've got left is a remnant of 150,000 really strong believers? You lose. You ain't got enough people. It's the voice of one. If you look at scriptures, it's always the voice of this one guy. Stands up, and Abraham going for a walk. I'm going to own all this. One nation plucked out of a bunch of nations. I'm going to make you guys and raise you up and give all the nations to you. One guy, one nation, one prophet, one fellow, one lady, one gal with a spike and a hammer. Disproves everybody all the time. It just so happens that because we're now, 5,000 years later, we got a lot of examples of one guys. And 12 guys. 70 guys who left. 12 to 70, 120 to 2,000 to 5,000 to 2,000 to 1,000 to 5,000 to 2,000. Hey, that's a bouncing scale you can't follow. Movements come, movements go. But look for the voice of the one guy who seems to be like, dead on. This prophet never speaks well of me. He's always dead on. This guy never does well of me either. He's dead on. That intercessor over there is a real pain. Dead on. That's all they're saying. Anybody gets upset at a man or woman of God, it's because they're too dead on. The other men and women of God, they don't get upset about. It's not a big deal. The voice of many, not a big deal. It's not proof of true faith. True faith is founded in the one guy, gal, kid who happened to get in contact with the one true God, who happened to tell him the one truth and backed it up and said, now listen to me or you lose. A lot of people running around saying, you better listen to me or you're going to lose. They can do all the talking they want until the one person shows up and says, I'm warning you. Now that person one must be careful of. Because the voice of one, according to Scripture, is the guy who's the majority. And after you get enough voices of one put together, you eventually end up with the voices of many. And if I may say so, the body of Christ is one, though it is many. It's still the voice of one. And number 5. Going really fast here, hope you can keep up. True faith is founded in what God says and shows. It is not founded in what man says. What God says by his voice, or what he shows, whether it's visions, dreams, or experiences in the Spirit, is going to lead you and direct you into true faith. What man says, with all his reasoning and his studies and his research and his committee meetings, putting it all together, 70 men in 70 room for 70 days for 70 reasons for 70 who knows what's, and drinking 7 bottles, I don't care. It's not about how many minds, Let's get us a think tank together and establish God. Let's put a think tank together and establish which direction the economy should go, which way the government should go, which way we should go, which way a church should go. All those minds together might be brilliant. They might have phenomenal wisdom. But faith, which means that which is going to produce something in the end, because faith is a substance of hope for evidence of things not seen. For what's going to be seen, you better be grounded in faith, because you don't know what's seen yet until it comes. The rest is all speculation and reasoning. If God says, here's what's going to happen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, shows 10, 15, 20 people, this is what's going to happen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the think tanks of the universe come together and say, we don't think so. God's going to go, well, I don't think like you think. And thinking is over. In fact, it's overrated. Yes, mankind is given a brain to use for himself, to come up with answers, to solve problems, and dissect the universe, and find quarks, and look for things underwater and above in the sky. Woohoo! But when it comes to faith-related matters, which deal with the future, he can't find that. Because all he can do is write books about trends of the past. He watches the weather of life. And if he doesn't get a good reading, you get snowbound in stupidity. That's the way it is. So the real answer is to say, God, talk a lot, talk much, show up, visit, because when he does, your true faith will come out. Number 6. True faith will be founded in uncontradictory testimony. As verses, might I use the phrase Babylon? Lots of pandemonium, confusion. What I mean by that is this: uncontradictory testimony. Number 1, God cannot contradict himself. The gods of the universe out there might all contradict each other, and we might find people saying they must still be gods. But when you have an A, not A logic paradigm, and they're opposite, it's a not. He says it is, he says it's not. Somebody's wrong. Has to be. Now, if he says it is, and they say it's not, something's wrong. There cannot be a contradiction in anything that's going to create faith. Faith is founded on solid things. It is not founded on, oh, I just feel. It's not founded on, I just think. It's not founded on, they told me. It is founded on uncontradictory testimony. And if you read the Bible, you'll find for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, yea, thousands of years, those singular individuals who got these singular experiences and tried to tell everybody about it, interestingly enough, do not contradict each other. I will lay you money that you study anybody's religion except the true God, and you will find Prophet so-and-so disagrees with Prophet so-and-so 400 years later. Pope so-and-so disagrees with Pope so-and-so 400 years later. They both speak ex cathedra. So-and-so had a vision, and so-and-so had a vision, and they contradict each other within their own system. But these guys never did. They're just like a bunch of building blocks that just keep piling up the evidence, and it's always the same evidence. And even when people try to go Bible contradictions and say, this God's got contradictions, they're talking about textual contradictions. I see a number here that doesn't match a number there. I see a story here that's incomplete to a story there. But none of it's ever incomplete on the testimony. And that scares them. Really good and proper scares them. Because it's uncontradictory testimony. Out here in the world, we got Babylon. We got many voices, all speaking their own language, all speaking their own things, all contradicting, and all claiming to be right. Cannot be. Number 7. True faith comes from, ironically enough, this statement, true angels. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. True angels versus angels of light. Disguised angels. Angels coming with visitations and then teaching messages contrary to the other. It doesn't matter if a messenger comes to me, if an angel comes to me and brings any other gospel, don't receive him. I don't care if it is an angel. It's an angel that makes it right. Don't you get it? I saw an angel. My faith is in an angel. My faith is in an angel. Therefore, I have true faith. Not if the angel is an angel of light. Not if the angel is on disguise. Not if he's a wolf in sheep's clothing in the spiritual speaking sense of the word. Not if he's going to lead you away from God after you get really good and soaked in and then eventually gives you the revelations. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, this one over here is not the true God. Follow me, I'm the only one. Ooh, watch it, angels. Just an angel doesn't make a difference. Some people think just an angel makes a difference. I got an angel. Yeah, so do many false religions. Were founded by an angel. Check them. But a true angel shows up, and the first thing he says is, I don't take worship. A true angel shows up and says, I don't lead you to me. A true angel doesn't say, follow me. A true angel says, him, ta-da. And a true angel bringing true faith, guess what? Has the power of God to back him up, can make you mute for a season since you don't want to listen to what I have to say. I'll just let you go mute until your kid's born. You know, that kind of stuff. It is not enough that we have these wonderful, positive feeling angels running around telling us all these wonderful, positive things. It is whether or not that angel is a true angel, not a fallen angel. Number 8. True faith is founded in what I will call legal testimony of witnesses. It is not founded in the scientific method. This is a big issue when talking with people, and a big issue when we get contested on our faith. We are listening to witnesses in a witness stand that go back thousands of years telling us their testimony. And we are the jury making that decision. And we are the judge who's going to make that final call whether or not what the prosecuting attorney says is true or whether what the witnesses say are true on the defense side. So realize that while men are trying to throw at you scientific method, how can I put it in a beaker? How can I measure it in a vacuum? Was it scientifically founded? Is it perhaps some kind of science I don't know? All of that is not going to lead to faith. It's only going to lead to more questions. But legal testimony of the witnesses, after a while, you just jump up and down. You go, there's a real one. You listen to the witness, and he goes, oh, that's a pretty good story. He put it together pretty well, but I see some problems with that one. And this guy over here, he said, here's what I did, here's what happened, I don't know what else to say. And you go, that's an awful clean witness. That's a clear testimony. I love going to old bookstores to read testimonies written by men and women of God who've gone on mission trips and so forth. They go in, and here's what happened. I went into this place, and here's what took place, and God did this, and then we left, and that's what happened, and this is good. Number 9. True faith is based in God reaching man. It is not based in man reaching unto God. I'm not saying that we can't pray and reach out to God. I'm not saying that in asking we don't receive. However, there's an angle that's going on in mankind that says, I can attain unto this knowledge by my effort, my striving, my whatever. If you check this book and you check the men and women of God of history, you will find a really interesting thing. A lot of bucking. God shows up and goes, "Hi, mighty man of valor. Hi, lady of the Lord. Hi, handmaiden. Hi, how you doing?" Only need one of those. If he doesn't do it again for the next 60 years, you're stuck. Because you didn't chase him and find him. He chased you, loved you first. And now you're stuck. People who are trying to attain unto the knowledge and the understanding of God, and if there is or isn't one, just haven't had a visitation yet. Just haven't had a real upfront face-to-face and now I showed myself yet. But once that's happened, you realize it's God reaching the man that produces true faith. Your faith is founded in things God did to you when you bucked him and you knew it. You were going the other way and he turned you around. He snuck up behind you and hit your conscience with the backside of a ball bat, or maybe he just tapped you on the shoulder. Whatever he did, he said, and you're going, "Oh, it's you. Okay, I'm changing course." That's how people change. That's how true repentance happens. You don't just change your mind one day and say, "I'm going to become a Christian and I'm just going to improve myself." No, you don't. One day you're going along and you trip and you fall and you're in the mud, or one day you go along and you're really arrogant and proud because you succeeded at everything, and God goes, "Hello. Forgot me, didn't you? Forgot me in your downness, you forgot me in your upness." Whichever way he catches us, he catches us. And he goes, "Okay, my turn." And you're done. Then your true faith has started and your false faith is falling away rather quickly. Because that which you did to reach unto God just dissolves, and that which God did when he reached to you gets strong. And that's how your faith gets built up. Number 10. God's ability, or Christ's ability, is what creates true faith. Their ability, their feeding and giving the energy and supplying the need and coming in on our behalf and being our strong tower and our army and our defense and their abilities. Not my ability at, okay, I practice really hard with these scriptures, I can quote them perfectly. Ready, set, go. La 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 la. You know, sword fight with the devil, sword fight with man, sword fight with ideas, sword fight with the politics, sword fight, sword fight, sword fight. It's about God's ability. Well, I stood in front of that council, I hadn't a clue what to say, I opened my mouth, and wow, that was interesting. As I walk away, I think I better take some notes. This is the way it works. This is where true faith comes from. Because all of a sudden you go, "I didn't know that. I got to double check that. I knew certain verses, but you know, it's bad enough that God sometimes brings up verses. Sometimes he'll bring up the references. Sometimes he'll say, check the Greek or Hebrew. Sometimes he'll say, you know, hey, my ability, I got the smarts. I can't figure this out. I love getting at people who keep saying that. I can't figure this out. Yeah, right? Even I got to say it. I can't figure this out. Then I got to go back to, figure this out for me. Tell me, show me, help me see it. My ability is too short. But when the true God shows up in his ability, oh my goodness, you got answers to things, your timing's right, you're in the right place at the right time with the right person in the right way, and you're going, oh, that was interesting. And you look over your shoulder and see the perfect path that you made. You walk like an ant on the sidewalk going like this, and then you found out God took you from there to there. Wow, isn't that interesting? Clever, clever, clever being who's got lots of ability. Number 11. True faith is founded in the anointing or the Spirit moving. That is, God's Spirit anointing us to action, empowering us to action, whichever term you want to use, filling us with himself so we do what we do. His Spirit actually moving us in a direction, as compared to demonic ecstasies. When I say demonic ecstasies, I'm saying people who, channel, for example, and go, click out. We don't click out. We tap in. We don't have to somehow become nothing ghosts in order for the power of God to operate. We're just walking along, headed to the temple, and there's a guy down there, and he's in his wheelchair or whatever, and God does it, and you're walking along the shore, and you see all these people, and your compassion overpowers you, and Jesus says that's how he did it. There's no, stop, the spirit of so-and-so is about to enter me. I don't mean that God can't shake a person, drop a person, fall a person, spin a person, or lift a person. He can do a lot of those things too. Ecstasies by themselves do not prove true or false either. Watch yourself. But there are ecstasies that are not ecstasies. They're not the Spirit of God moving. And what you have to do is learn how to become one of those who yield. And as you yield, and God gives you this stuff, and you find yourself going, really? You learn. This is the difference between true faith and false faith. Some people ask me sometimes, how come you believe the way you believe all these years? It's rather difficult not to. If I agree with them, it works. If I buck them at times or resist, I find out later what my problem was. You know what I mean? You learn. Dad is very good at being dad. God is very good at being creator. And he's very creative. That's all I got to say. Number 12. The difference between true faith is that which is founded in the Spirit versus that which is founded in the soul. Our souls are wonderful things. Our person, our being, how we feel, taste, touch, how we perceive, how we receive, how we plug in, all the stuff we do with our soul is all good stuff for a soul. But what comes from the Spirit is pure. It becomes undefiled. When the Holy Spirit comes through and He's bringing truth and He's leading and guiding you and showing you things to come, it's pure. There's no confusion in it. There's no lack of clarity in it. It is, oh, that was clear. In fact, it gets so clear sometimes you go, man, why didn't I see that before? That was so simple that a 2-year-old shouldn't have missed that one. Because the Spirit is always going to be presenting truth in such a way that your faith will crystallize and go, I'm convinced. That's what faith is, persuaded. I'm convinced. And I know why I'm convinced. And I can prove why I'm convinced. And guess what? Now that I'm convinced, I can even do this, which will prove to you that I'm convinced. God's Spirit is actively working with man, quickly working with man. Our souls are learning to adapt or move out of the way. Quite simply. We either adapt or move out of the way. Number 13. True faith is founded in Christ's work and in God's plan. It is not founded on pious men or seekers of truth, seekers of philosophy, those who seek. It's a focus thing. Get into the plan, and you will see the truth, and you will increase in true faith as you go. Because you go, wow, this plan is unfolding right in front of me. This is really interesting. He said he'd author it. He said he'd finish it. I'm in the middle of it. I see this part done. This one's headed. This one's over. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who said, my ministries of the past, I now come to realize I'm gone. It's done. All the doors and things I built back here have all come to their full fruition. All the people that were involved have done and become what they've done and become. And now here I am. And my time that I was in all this is over. And my reply was, then there must be your next time coming. It has to be now your next time coming because the plan's not done. This was just one 40-year segment of it. Now you got the next segment coming. Stay in the plan. But if we're trying to plan and we're trying to figure it out, or we're trying to follow pious men, or, wow, that guy's so pious, that guy's so prophetic, that guy's so perfect, that guy's so folded leg, calm and peaceful, we lose. It's not the piousness of men, or how pious they are, how perfect they are, how whitewashed they are. It's not whether they're seekers, true seekers and hunters. It's not whether they're true philosophers or those who truly seek wisdom. Although, you can learn from everybody. But Christ's work, God's plan, get in it, get on it. Your faith starts multiplying because you see it happening. His plan for you, His plan for the church, His plan for the future. Look around, watch and see what God's up to. God's work. And your faith will increase. Number 14. True faith is founded in that which is invisible. What? Yeah, invisible. It is not founded in what's visible. True faith steps into a place before God where you're in His mind and you're in His Spirit and you know what He knows and it's clear, and then you just end up living it out. Because you came from a place of clear, but it's invisible, because faith, of course, is for a lot of things that hasn't happened yet, or for a lot of things that, you don't know where it's going, but you're there because because the invisible God has took you to the invisible place for you to interact invisibly, to wait for that which is going to come visibly. Now, you can also have true faith that's founded on your visibly, because when you see the invisible become visible, you'll leap for joy because, hey, that's what Christ told us. That's what God told us in prophecy. Woohoo! Look at that. And as soon as you're done, you're clapping, bragging, or whatever you're going to do with it. You know, we are mortal. The next thing you're going to say is, so, I better get back in the invisible, because if that visible came to pass on that invisible, then I better get more invisible, so I know what the next visible is going to be. So I'm in the group for visibles. But I can't get in the group for visibles by looking at the visible and measuring and weighing and calculating and statisticizing and to figure out what my invisible is. Show me where the Spirit of God is. Where is He? Oh, well, there's 42 people that are shaking, 32 people that are doing this. These fell on the floor. These are weeping. These are that. Does that prove? Come on over here. Let me introduce you to God. Ready? Bam! You're down. We're out of here. Invisible. Yay. A bunch of invisible people having a multiple vision? Cool. A bunch of visible people shaking on the floor? Yeah, okay. Doesn't do anything for me except to go, oh, cool. That's nice. You know, well, I don't know if I believe it. Any number of reactions to visible looking. I don't care if it's 100,000 people being slain in the street in a Reinhard Bonnke conference, all of them in Africa. Thank you very much. I loved it. Great show. Now, that was my friend who just went down. I want to hear what happened to him. Now you find out a different story. What happened? Well, it's a line on the floor. Blah, 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 blah. Testimony. Yes. I have my cloud of witnesses. Thank you very much. Cloud of witnesses on invisible activities and cloud of witnesses on invisibles of visibles that are coming later. True faith. Number 15. Multiple visions, counsels, and decisions. Multiple visions and leadings against counsels and decisions. Well, you just can't go by counsels. And multiple visions and leadings do bring you towards that direction, but you got to test them. But I guarantee you, counsel decisions are not going to produce it. It just ain't going to happen that way. Counsels are good for sometimes monitoring bad activity, but I guarantee you they are not proof of good activity. Looking at the clock, I see I've run out of time for today. So I'm going to stop right there at number 14. We'll pick up, 15. And we'll pick up maybe a part 2 of this next week. Praise the Lord.